KDKA-TV's unofficial band became the official band on stage tonight at the Three Rivers Arts Festival. Hector in Paris was front and center with their own brand of music known as Bob. That's Bob. And you see, the group has a behind-the-scenes love affair going on with our own Bob Kudzma. That's why their music is called Bob as opposed to Bop or Rocket Bop. You know, Hector used to be associated with Rocket Bop, but now they say no more. Simply an outdated archaic term. So I guess Bob is the music that is in right now.
I love it.
Yes.
I feel honored. It's great. It's wonderful.
You should be honored by it.
Yeah, I am. Nice day tomorrow.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. It gets off to a great start.
I feel it in my thighs.
Hello and welcome to Postmodern Scrapyard. I'm your host, Joe Reibling. Tonight we will be examining the video legacy of Hector in Paris. The career of Hector in Paris began in 1983 and ended July 16, 1988, at a farewell concert at Graffiti. Hector in Paris, to many, was one of the most influential new music bands of the 1980s. Tonight we will be speaking with Marie Alexander, a founding member of Hector in Paris, who will talk about the history of the band. Kurt Batula of the Affordable Floors will comment on the Pittsburgh music scene in the mid-80s. Tom Wilson, the official videographer of Hector in Paris, and his wife Joy. Don Bell, producer of 1987's In Pittsburgh Music Awards Album of the Year, No Leaning. And Kathy Funk, with Joy LeMasters, two die-hard Hector in Paris fans offer their recollections of the band. We here at Postmodern Scrapyard hope you will enjoy the video history of Hector in Paris. Here is Marie Alexander.
Originally, Hector in Paris got started when Ron Solo and I decided we wanted to start a new project. The cardboards had collapsed and we were trying to work something out, and Ron came home and we worked with a couple of different people. Nothing really panned out. Ron came home from work one day and said, well, there's this guy that plays guitar and sings lounge songs at work, and maybe we could get him to come over. So Phil Harris then came over, and the three of us started working in I think August, September of 1983. Then there was a big disruption of the drum machine. All the memory was erased, and we didn't do anything for a couple of months. And starting around the first of the year, we started, here comes Hank. Now, Hank was always quite a connoisseur of our music. If Hank liked a song, he would stay in the room. If he didn't like a song, if he got up and left, we knew we were in trouble and we better rework it. So anyway, so here's Hank to make sure I tell the truth. Yeah. Well, Jim LaJelly had been in a band, Stick Against Stone or Pancreatic Ballet. It had two percussionists in it, or two drums and percussion. So I asked him, hey, we're looking for a percussionist for our band. Do you know anyone? And he said, well, no, but how about a sax player? So we said, come on over. So Jim came along, and that's when things really clicked. It just really started happening with the band. The chemistry was there. Not to mention that Jim always looked so fine. We called him our sax symbol.
Tom and Joy Wilson.
The first time I saw Hector was in Mellon Park on my lunch hour. I think it was their second gig. It was the summer of '84. And we knew some people in the band through other friends, through mutual friends.
And then you didn't see them when they played the Barge.
No.
That was a big deal, I heard.
Right. Yeah, we missed the first gig, the 4th of July gig.
And then we caught them a couple times at the Banana, and I said, these guys are great. I gotta shoot this, because that was at the time when Jeff Stein was doing all that great stuff. And I thought, I could do that. But I wanted to capture that live feeling, the thing with them, the actual performance. And so I found out right away, well, as soon as I was done shooting, I was no cameraman. If you watch that camera work is very shaky. So be warned, and those of you with inner ear problems, you might want to leave the room during this section of the program.
fun. Yeah, okay. Let's not have too much fun tonight, huh? Fun is the #1 killer of young adults. Remember that. Right after work.
We rehearsed at Ron's house, which was always a trip. There was up to 7 cats there at any given time. And I remember when we got 2 little kitties, Bill's amp got peed in. He wasn't real happy about that. But we persevered, and we drank lots of coffee. We'd get together like, 10, 11, 12 in the morning, more like 12. And we'd drink coffee, tons of coffee. Sometimes we drank beer too. We went through some beer as well, but We were definitely coffee achievers at that time. Phil and I collaborated on the first song we wrote lyrics for together, and I think, well, probably the only song we wrote lyrics for together was Too Much Fun. That was one of our early tunes. And basically, the way the writing went was that someone would have pretty much a complete idea, a song with a melody line, and then we'd Hectorize it. We'd arrange it in some fashion, but occasionally we did collaborate. Party was a collaboration song, and so was Let's Make It Hard. But Ron had written the music for that, and Phil wrote lyrics.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Well, after we played those kind of first few shows that were in different kind of spaces, we kind of took up residence at the Electric Banana. We used to play there for all ages shows, and we played there for over 21 shows. Johnny thought we were great. Johnny and Judy both were really enthused about our band.
So through our mutual friends at Laughing Matter Productions, Phil and I got it together to go and shoot a performance of Hector in Paris at the Electric Banana. Now, I hated that place for years because Johnny Banana said that I could have all the beer I wanted if I went down and showed films there one night for Snake Finger. He had, Ralph Records. All those artists had their videos that were on film at the time, so they needed a projector, and I went down and I showed them. And I thought I was going to get beer all night and get to watch Snake Finger, and he only gave me beer until I was done running the projector. I had to buy my beer after that. So I've been annoyed with him since.
Well, in defense of John and Judy Banana, when we went to see Black Flag once, actually I wasn't with you, I was with some girlfriends in 1981, John and Judy got a call that Black Flag's bus had broken down, and they tipped us off to go out the back door that as soon as they would announce it, a fight would ensue, and that's what happened. So John and Judy saved our lives.
Anyway, we agreed to go ahead and shoot the performances of Hector in Paris, but it's not some of my best work.
This next song is a John Denver song. We're really big fans of him. He's a great guy. I think he says a lot about young America. You know, I get into him. He did that movie about God. No, I'm talking to Tasha Kinski.
Our favorite song on the jukebox at the Banana was a bad word I shouldn't say, but it was "Fuck Everybody," and it was a great song. We used to play that after the set and just dance around and laugh. We always used to. Janet Gunter was our first sound person, and you can always see her long red hair flapping around back there. Oh, and here comes Wilhelmina. She always liked the band too. Phil always had a secret crush on her. I know, he told me. But anyway, yeah, we had many good times at the Electric Banana. That's for sure. Some of the other, well, I think we first played Graffiti back in 1985. It was in the very cold winter. We did a play there. It was called Oscar. It was about the life of Oscar Wilde. Bob Wenzel put it together here in Pittsburgh. It was a play written by James Camicha, and it starred Ondine in the role of Oscar. And unfortunately, Ondine has since passed away, but we sure had a great time working with him. And Ted Hoover and Patty, oh gosh, Patty, I can't think of her last name. But anyway, Willie likes to be in it. She's a ham too. She's almost as big as a ham as her mother. Put your butt down, Willie.
Coming up next on the update, 10 years ago, she lapsed into a coma. Tonight, Karen Ann Quinlan died. The rebuilding is underway for victims of the tornadoes, but an unseen complication is now surfacing.
A bridge in Berlin becomes a pathway for freedom for a band of alleged spies. And in sports, the Bucks finally get a good deal from the Cards at the ballpark tonight. Good evening, I'm Lynn Sawyer. Stacey Smith has the evening off.
I'm Ray Tannehill. Eyewitness News Update is next.
It's interesting to think about how when Graffiti opened, the music scene kind of took off. You know, the Electric Banana has certainly always been a place where new bands can play and try out their stuff. And Johnny and Judy have always been really great about booking people who, you know, don't have a portfolio to show or whatever. And it brought a lot of interesting things in. But I think when Graffiti opened, it offered an alternative to going to the Banana, a bigger space. And I think that really, it started to be like 3-band shows, and a lot of people, there was a lot of interest in seeing what was available. There was really, the music scene had kind of petered out for a while, it seemed, with Five leaving town, the Cardboards broke up. Of course, Car Sickness was always continuing to do their thing, but basically a whole void was there that I think when we started Hector in Paris, it seemed like a good timing because our band started, Graffiti opened, and the music scene started picking up again. I remember we used to play with the Spuds at Graffiti and sometimes with the Affordable Floors. But there was a lot of different rock competitions and stuff that various promoters put together. One of them being Harold Hinterleiter, who later joined our band as a percussionist.
Mick Jagger, Neil Young, Boy George, Paul Simon, and Waylon Jennings.
Some top-notch performers were playing over at the Arts Festival tonight as Pittsburgh's Hector in Paris took center stage at Point State Park. The 4-piece band delivered an appetizing menu of 80s electric dance music, and wherever they played, dance lovers seemed to gravitate to the front of the stage.
band has been together for about a year and plays at nightclubs around the area such as Graffiti in Oakland.
We recorded our first single. It was Silent Radio, which remained the big dance floor hit throughout the history of Hector in Paris, and Picnic on the Edge out at Barney Harbst's studio in Munhall, which was a little tiny room off to the side of his parents' house. That was through the financial assistance of Angela Sokolsky, who Ron and Phil were working for. So we thank her for that. And Larry Ripple took a great photo for that, and we were really pleased with ourselves. We had something on vinyl. We kept the first lineup of Hector in Paris for from the beginning of '84 until the fall of '85. Jim LaGelli went to San Francisco for a summer, and I went to Europe well, not for the summer. We each went for a month. I went to Europe. Jim went to San Francisco. And while we were gone, Phil and Ron and our then sound person Eric Allison did a project they called it Hector Instead, and Harold Hinterleiter played percussion on that. And then we decided, when Jim and I got back, that we would add Harold to Hector. We'd always been kind of looking for a percussionist, so that started the second phase of Hector in Paris, with Harold playing percussion. We recorded our second single at Audio Innovators. We recorded High Life and Rose's Party, and we decided to shoot a video to High Life. So Patricia Guide, who was a friend of Phil's and the band, worked at an advertising agency and knew people that were in the business of making videos, and so they thought it'd be a fun thing to do to shoot our videos. So Wayne Boswell and Ringo, also really known as Rich Noel, had a big part in producing and directing that, and that was really fun. But that was one big day of torture, though, let me tell you. We made the mistake of booking a show the night before at La T Cantina, a place which has met a demise, but at any rate, it was out in Mount Lebanon, and we did the PA ourselves. We played the whole night. We got home to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then had to be fresh and lovely at 10 for the shooting of this video. So needless to say, we were down in the coffee and feeling kind of cranky for a while, but it was really exciting. We shot that video at John Sanderson's studio down in the Strip, and it actually got national distribution or national attention on 120 Minutes on MTV.
Back to
Here with his comments on the new music scene in Pittsburgh in the mid-'80s, from the Affordable Floors, Kirk Batula.
When we first started, the only venues open to original music, actually the only venue I should say, was the Electric Banana that we were aware of. The Electric Banana, which at that time, every band that went anywhere had to start there eventually. They would let anyone play. You could play spoons, you could run around naked and make animal noises. Anyone could get booked there, but everybody had to be booked there. No one else would let you play. No one was interested. They wanted cover bands, or they wanted DJs playing top 40 or whatever. It was a very different cultural climate in the community. So there was one club, there was the Electric Banana, and then there were a lot of concerts in the parks and things like that. That's when I was younger. We used to go to Flagstaff Hill or to Market Square or so on and listen to the original music there. And there was one radio program on WYEP called Beat Sickness that Harry the Wire used to put on. And that was the only place in the city that you could hear contemporary, what is referred to as alternative music. When I was younger, I would go to Jim's Records every Sunday or every Saturday and say, "Jim, what should I buy?" There was no place you could hear this stuff. He gave me Clash albums, he gave me Eno records, he gave me these things because I couldn't, there was no way to, for a person who's interested in these things to find out about them, except through a very informal network. Well, at the time, by the mid-'80s, we were in a situation where a lot more people were aware of the vitality of music, whereas a lot of other kind of art forms had gone the way of the buggy whip in terms of any kind of resonance in people's lives or in the community. You know, painting, they were still having poetry readings, but no one cared. No one cared. But music was actually becoming very interesting again. And the Pittsburgh had been traditionally known as a shot in a beer, Jersey rock kind of town, and the only bands that got any support for the shot in a beer, Jersey rock bands were the cover bands. So along comes Hector and Paris, who really, to our experience, broke that open. Hector and Paris changed a lot of community attitudes. They were the first band to really, in a sense, wake up, create an awareness of within the community, and consequently, you started suddenly having huge crowds. They were packing graffiti. It's one of the top showcase clubs in the country, packing it with crowds that national acts can't draw, and doing it consistently and regularly, and people are going out to see them. And there was, for us, on one hand, this was very encouraging because this was finally people were saying, well, yeah, we're tired of hearing cover bands. We had a very real chip on our shoulder about that. Nowadays, at that time, when you started, if you were playing covers, unless it was like one or two cover songs as kind of, in fun to send up a song, but it was, the originality of the music was very important. Hector showed us that there was an audience for original music, and that you weren't just sort of pounding your head against the wall in your basement pursuing it. And the music they were doing was radically different from anything that had happened in the city and had been accepted before. They were working with keyboards, synthesizers, electronic drums. The songs were sophisticated lyrically. You weren't. You kind of miss the car and girl thing every now and then, but it was okay. it made a big difference for us, and it opened the way for bands like ours and others, and pretty soon you had all these bands coming out of the woodwork, essentially walking into a marketplace that Hector had pulled together. And at the time, they were playing, Kids After Dark were playing, and also drawing.
That's it, Phil Harris. I have had it. I've been watching this video for half of an hour. Have I seen any mention of my name, Tom Clancy, in it? That's Tom Clancy. You remember me, your friend? It's Tomclan.
I want to go home.
But this is a video that I did, Stepping Stone.
Stone.
had a great summer that year in 1986 with making the video and playing lots of dates. But unfortunately, Jim LaGelli was becoming dissatisfied with his life in Pittsburgh. He really wanted either the band to take off and move someplace else and try to make a go of it, or he just really felt the need to explore other territory. So he made a decision to leave the band and move to Boston, which we were all sad about, but people have to do their own thing and do what's best for them. So that was the end of an era, though, when Jim took off. February the 7th, 1987 was his last date with Hector in Paris, and it was a sad evening for me, for all of us, I think, and for Jim too, but he felt like he wanted to move along. So that was kind of the end of an era there when Jim took off. Shortly after that, in May, Harold decided to leave the band. So it was back to the original trio, Phil, Ron, and I. After Jim left, we replaced him with Tim Pollock, who was also in the Spuds and continued to be in the Spuds. Only once or twice did we have conflict of dates with that. Tim certainly stepped in and did a swell job playing sax, and he appears on our final release, which was No Leaning. That featured the new Hector in Paris lineup. We added bass, Eric Allison, and drums, Dave Klug. The last release that we did was called No Leaning. We recorded at Don Bell's studio down on Penn Avenue.
We recorded the album essentially live. In fact, I think a couple of the tracks that we mixed on the album were live takes in the studio because there was so much bleed in the vocal mic that it had to be the original take. I can't remember which song it was, but when I went through those tapes to remix some of it, that's what I found. And I know on most of them we went back and redid the vocals just to get rid of the bleed and stuff, and straighten out the vocals so that the bad notes or whatever were there. And some of them, we did the harmonies all on the same track. It was all, we just mixed it. Everybody went out and sang, and then that was it. It went down on the track. So it was pretty much a live recording. And most of the time we used two mics on the drums. It was an overhead mic and a kick drum mic. And they were on separate tracks on some of the mixes. And then I forget which song it was. One or two of the songs I actually recorded the drums in stereo. And I used like 3 or 4 mics or something. And those sounded a little better. But everybody was so deathly afraid of mixing everything at once. And one of the tapes that I found was either a rehearsal recording, because I remember the other thing was after the band got reorganized, I went out of town for 2 weeks. I went to work at Summerfest, and I gave Phil the keys to the studio, and I said, take the band in and rehearse them for the next 2 weeks so that you at least understand how to play the songs before we go in the studio, because I really hate people that try and create songs in the studio because it's just so goddamn time-consuming. And knowing how much money I was going to make on this album, I was going to have to work nights to do it. It was like, we're trying to minimize the pain here. And I think, unfortunately, at the same time I was doing an album with Ann Feeney, too. Or else I started the Ann Feeney, maybe I started the Ann Feeney album right after you guys, or I was doing it during the day and you guys at night. There was something really deranged going on, because we'd go from Irish jigs to music. And the other thing that was real interesting was that there were several different ideas of what was going on. I think if you took all of the people in the group in separate rooms and grilled them about the contents of No Leaning and what it was about or what it meant, or even how the songs went. I mean, it's like, hum me a few bars. It's like that old joke about the tuba player who was sitting out the rehearsal because he had a sore lip. And so the band later had him listen to the rehearsal, and after he was done rehearsing, the tuba player, he asked the tuba player, well, how did it sound? And he said, well, you know that part that goes boom, 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 boom? Everybody was playing, so there's like this clogged up vision of what this song is about got locked into people's individual parts, or at least I got that impression because of how much emphasis was put on things. Like when it came time to mix it, the dueling bass players came in, and all they wanted to do was fight with me about where the bass belonged. And it's like we'd have one bass pan to the left and the other one pan to the right, and then this real mirage of swimminess would happen in the middle. And it was just this big, indistinct blur with vocal accompaniment. And it was real hard for me to deal with it. And so finally I gave up. I gave Ron and Eric the keys to the studio, and I said, you can come in at night and you can mix it. I don't really give a shit. You're on your own. Have a nice day. And I think I left town again for another week and went to work at Festa Italiana or something. And so it was the whole mix of the album. It was so bizarre too, because the original concept, the idea I had, was that the band wanted to sound pretty much like they sounded live, as though they were playing out. And probably the best way to do that would have been to record them in front of a group, in front of a, record them at Graffiti. That would have, in front of their 500 screaming teeny boppers, which is what it seemed like there were a lot of, or first-year Pitt students or something, all wearing the same black clothes. Always the strange bunch, too. Sawed-off black pants or something. Pretty much the general wave of what's in college today. I think when I was of college age, people were wearing cut-off sweatshirts 2 or 3 at a time. So it's the same kind of thing, with just different colors, and some of them said UCLA instead of eat shit or something.
Here's our lovely In Pittsburgh Music Award from 1987. This one is for Best Recording. Ron, of course, has the Best Keyboard Player in his home, and Phil has Best Band Award at his house. So each of the 3 of us happily got to receive one memento of our band.
Go ahead.
Rose's Party was just a fun song. I mean, there was...
Fun. So we got there in time. We got set up just barely in time. And I had everybody start rolling tape. And there just wasn't very much coverage on this song. You'll notice there's a gratuitous effect which floats around in there, and I'm not real happy with that. I'm just going to apologize for this. But the band was good, and Don Bell did an incredible job, I thought, mixing the sound.
Yeah.
At this point, of course, I thought the Hectors were sounding as good as they ever did, with the addition of, what's his name? Dave Klug.
On drums,
On
right.
drums. I thought that they had achieved an incredible plateau of sound.
Good evening. The 28th annual Three Rivers Arts Festival is very happy to bring you Hector in Paris!
For a million miles, it's late and getting later. Just think of all the fun we're gonna have. Think of all the fun we'll have later. Think of the fun, new and improved. Save for young children. No more cigarettes, maybe an eighth of a tank if we're lucky. Are you sure you want to go through with this? Let's go to Denny's and talk this thing over. Think of the fun, think of the fun we'll have. Think of the fun we'll have later. I'm getting a bad feeling about this. It's only natural, she says to me. Oh, is it? Yes, it is. Think of have letters. Dave Clue. Vocal in the monitor, please. A little more wind, please. So, this is the basement. Thank you. The paneling was a dead giveaway. I don't even know you, and you're yelling at me. Your brother, your cousin, or your mother, or your nephew, or something. This isn't fun. Where is the fun? Where is the fun we'd have? Where is the fun? Take any word, crap, and say it over and over and over again. Till it becomes just a sound. Until it becomes totally meaningless. Everybody, fun, fun, fun. Fun, 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 fun. Fun, 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 fun.
We were real excited when Please Advise got some radio play on XXP.
Yeah, and RCT and them.
Right.
But and it was such a good song too. Really breaking away from that whole Cardboards thing where it was a keyboard-dominated band. This was a guitar song, foremost, and that was the thing I appreciated about it. The lyrics, powerful, meaningful. These are unsolicited, by the way.
Inappropriate response seems it's always worked before. I've been meaning to inspect it, but inspection's such a bore. And in my present retrospective, I see what folly now begins. You see, I've cut a lot of corners, and I've lost a lot of friends. Dangerous conditions, proceed with caution if you must. But I can't give up at this point. I'm the only one I trust. The degree of my ambition, expectation so severe, and I knew I'd lose it somewhere. Never thought I'd lose it here. I detect a slight incongruence, an aberration in my eye. It's not exactly what I'd hoped for. Do you read me? Please advise. With the depth of my involvement, it should come as no surprise. It's not exactly what I'd worked for. Do you read me? Please advise. Do you read me? Please advise. Do you read me? Please advise. No chance to back out now. No chance to reconcile. No chance to take it back. I bought it off the rack. What now can you do? They all depend on you, and they all depend on you, and you can't let them down. Major league malfunction to the basement, don't delay. Such a warmth and such a brightness, with only one thing in the way, and that's the metal turns to vapor, and my doubts evaporate. I see stupidity and reason, and compassion in my hate. No chance to back out now, no chance to reconcile, no chance to take it back. I bought it off the rack. What now can you do? They all depend on you, and they all depend depend on you, and you can let them down.
Thank you very much for Hector in Paris. Happy birthday, Brenna. Brenna's 4 years old today, and she loves us. Thanks for coming out. Special thank you to those who came Monday when the show was canceled. Thanks for coming back. And thanks for dancing down front here.
Kathy Funk with Joy LeMasters.
You were talking about the members, so everything must have worked out. How you think they had it
sometimes
planned.
you wonder if they had it planned, because Phil was like the smart and friendly one, and Alice was like the bubbly and friendly one. Not that she was stupid, but you know, Phil seemed like the intellect. You know, and then
those lyrics.
Jim LaJelly was like the too cool for words one, and then Ron was like the quiet and introverted, you know,
member of the band,
artsy guy.
And we
I
remember
guess that's
the drum
just the way they were.
And we remember the drum
and
machine.
Mr. Machine, yeah. I like it.
Who got more applause
at the
than
last
that
concert. We're gonna bring out Jim LaJelly now, folks. And now we're gonna dust off the drum machine. It's kind of sad commentary.
So we were really enthused with the new sound, adding Eric and Dave to the lineup, and we've been working with Tim for a while, so he was already kind of worked in there. And the new Hector in Paris version of Hector played out for a while, but then we decided to take a break around the holidays. And I don't know, when we got back together, it just, something had happened and the enthusiasm just didn't seem to be there any longer. So we kind of fiddled around for a few more months and played a few more dates, but in July of '88, I think it was the 18th, was it the 18th? 17th, 16th. I knew it was something like that. Okay. Well, anyway, July 16th, 1988 was our last performance. We played at Graffiti with ATS and did an under 21 and over 21 show, and went out with a bang. We had a great time.
I think that one of the nicest things about Hector was that there wasn't that pompous element. You know, they weren't like snubbing their nose at everyone else down on the dance floor. Matter of fact, they used to say like, turn up the lights because we're here to watch them too. Yeah. But I think that they would have been a lot more, sad to say, but I think that the masses really expect musicians to be pompous, and I think if
have their nose in the air and
if
ignore
they,
the band.
yeah, I think that was.
It's like they would interact with the audience, like you would, like Alice Marie used to come out. From what I remember, I don't know if anyone else used to come out in the audience. She used to come out and dance during silent radio with everybody else. You know, she'd dance and laugh and joke around, and you know, they were just really down to earth. They would interact, and you know, to me that's very important, because I mean, when you look at a band, you should be able to talk to them because they're just like everybody else. They're no different. And I don't know why some of them believe, oh, once they get this stardom or this fame, they all change. And
they're gonna put me in the movies. Yeah, they're gonna make a big star out of me.
There was no such word as Hectorized. I would like to express that now.
You'll be Hectorized.
Nothing like that.
We loved Hector and Paris. They were the best band ever. We went to see them again and again.
I was disappointed when Hector and Paris broke up. I wasn't really sure that I was ready to let go of the band, and yet now the way I feel about it is that it was just a necessary step in everybody's evolution towards what they're doing now. I really have really come into a lot more ability to write lyrics. I didn't used to write very many lyrics, and I think that the whole experience, you know, through all the growing pains and the pain of breaking up and everything else, I think though that, you know, things happen for a reason, and the time that Hector ended was the time it was supposed to end. The whole experience was just great though. We were together almost 4 years. Well, Ron and I and Phil were together almost 4 years, and then Jim, you know, Harold and everybody else for various lengths of time. But, you know, it was really, we really, I think, grew a lot and learned about working with people. It was the first long-term project I'd been in. I'd been in a couple of other shorter term things, but we really learned a lot from each other, I think, and we've gone on from there to our current projects, and it was great. Mohawk liked it too.
Yeah, there's no local band that's taken their place.
No local band could ever. No.
I think that, well, I don't know. I think it kind of went downhill after Jim Lagelli left.
When dreams collide, one day inside.